also deal with a very exciting topic because we all want to be found today. Now, as a matter of principle, first of all, we need a website because otherwise we are dead in the retail trade. So that's our virtual business card, the website. But people have to be able to find it. And we as local retailers have to see how this works, how the local search engines can find you, local search engine marketing. The next speaker definitely knows it. He wrote a bestseller. And he actually wrote a book called Digital Unbeatable. And I'm happy to welcome Patrick Hünemohr now. He is also a business angel. And in more than 5,000 digital projects. He was involved for small and medium-sized companies, and I think he knows many solutions that will help you to be better or more easily found on the internet with your business. Patrick Hünemohr, thank you for the nice introduction. Now, what we are going to do in the next 20 or 25 minutes is local searches. Local searches. How can you be found? How can you make sure that more people come to your store? And how can you also do this in the digital way, attract your customers? So in those 20 minutes, I would like to show you 2 or 3 things that you can change as of tomorrow so that you create more traffic to your shop and can be more easily found. I'm not going to talk about myself because I was introduced already. If you want to have my charts later on, they contain some checklists. Send me an email. I'm happy to send you my charts, and then you don't have to take any notes or take pictures. So I'm happy to share my charts with you later on. Now, before I'm going to jump into the first topic, let me share the agenda with you. I did a test in Cologne. I just looked at 50 stationery shops. I looked it up in the yellow pages and said, okay, who is available, which shops? And then I checked their internet presentation. And that's what I would like to show you, how they present themselves on the internet, these stationery shops. And then I'd like to tell you how you can enhance your local digital visibility, how to do it. And last but not least, I'd like to show you 3 trends or tips that are really important, and you should really know them because they will influence you in future. So first of all, the 50 stationery shops. I did this survey. I took 50 of these stationery stores and wanted to see what I found on the internet. And I used various tools to check out their internet presence. And a hard fact is that out of the 50 stationery stores that I checked, only 46% actually had a website. And conversely, it means, 50% of these stores don't have a website. And I'm not saying that I also looked at the small shops that just sell lottery tickets. And then people tell me this is a small shop. It's not relevant. A lottery ticket shop doesn't need a website. No, I didn't include these. I really took local providers, local stores, and wanted to see if they have a website. And in some cases, I couldn't find any. But what's even tougher, and I was really amazed to find it out, and that's why I changed my presentation, 30% of those stationery stores that have a website do not have any ranking at all on Google's first page. So we could say, hooray, our website exists and my name, when it is entered, people will find me. That's nice, but that's not enough. That's not how searching works. People generically look for like school bag or office chair or copying paper in my vicinity. They usually use generic search terms looking for a provider. They don't look for the name of a particular company like Mr. Huber. If you know that, that's really tough. So you need ranking on the first Google page. A website alone is not enough. Only 37% of the stationery stores have a verified Google My Business profile. The other, more than 60%, do not verify their Google profile. So that means major statements in this profile cannot be seen. And I'm going to show you what it means and why this does not create local visibility for your shop. Now, the shop, you could say 20% is not really bad. 20% is good if you're not using omni-channel. The German average is below this figure. And then newsletter, messenger services, there is a lot of potential that you can still tap into. So These are the columns here in the chart, newsletter, messenger. There is room for improvement here. But if you take a look at how social media is used, out of the 50 shops, how many of them use which social media channels? And here, the leading ones are Facebook and Instagram. So 36% use Facebook, 18% of the shops use Instagram. These are the most popular ones. And the first speaker told us that you must use social media if you want to be successful. And you're not going to be successful at all without social media. Facebook does not pass on any reach to you, and that's why many are frustrated and say, I'm posting all the time, but nothing comes back without any success. I don't generate traffic by posting, and that's something we need to be aware of as well. Now, if you know all of these things, you have to ask yourself, where does local traffic come from? How can I attract it? So what can I dock onto if I want to create local traffic for my shop? And it's really quite tough, but there are basically just two sources: search engines and social media. These are the only two sources that allow you to create local digital traffic. The rest, like directories, yellow pages, you may use these sources, that's fine, and you create some kind of basic business, but real traffic can only be generated with the search engines and social media channels. But the problem here is that these channels that do generate traffic don't really pass on this traffic to you. If you use Google, for instance, the first line that you see here in the chart unfortunately says that Google, well, 61% of the search queries that Google gets is answered by Google themselves. So the search engine does not pass on this traffic to you. They answer this search query themselves. It's clear Google wants to give the answer so that you as a user stay on the Google platform. And if you know that, then you have to go to the place where Google gives the answer to generate traffic for your shop. And I'm going to show you how this works. The second tough thing, and which corresponds with it, only about 25% of the overall Google generated traffic is passed on to a third party in the first place. So the share that will organically arrive at your website is continuously going down. And third fact, advertising spend at Google is becoming increasingly attractive. So the advertising volume, that's something that Google wants to keep to itself. Google says, okay, then you have to book an ad with me, so you would have to pay for a Google ad if you want to be visible again. And look at this chart. You know what it's like. You ask, or you search for a school bag in Cologne, and this is where the visible range of your screen ends. But at the top of the page, you only see ads, nothing organic. You don't stand a chance to get into this unless you pay for the ad, or unless you somehow manage to get into the so-called local pack. By the way, it's exactly the same with social media. Here you can see the development for Facebook. Starting in 2012 to March 2020, Facebook only passes on 3.5% to 5% of the traffic to you as a provider via their fan site. The rest is not passed on anymore by Facebook. Same for Instagram. So what is underlying all of this? They want to push you into paid ads. You should pay for the ads if you want to be seen on these media. So the question is not where you can get to the last bit of traffic on the internet. No, you have to play along with them. You need to attack the place where a lot of traffic is created, in the search engines and in social media. So you need to be able to tap into these particular sources. There you have to catch the traffic. And if at all possible, you should get it for free. You shouldn't have to pay for it. And that's the particular skill that we want to develop. So how to do it? So that's the part more local digital visibility. I believe that these are the 4 pillars that you need to address if you want to create more digital visibility. You need a website, you need a Google business profile, you need social media, and I would always advise you to deal with e-commerce, to start doing e-commerce. Well, there are lots of hurdles and obstacles, I do know that, but I brought an example with me, and that shows you that it can be quite easy to start e-commerce. But let's first of all take a look at the website. And really, you don't have to take notes, but these are 10 points which I would like to mention to you. And tomorrow you go to your website provider and ask, the provider about these 10 points I'm going to show in my chart. And if at item 3 the provider says, can't do it, then you say, I'm not going to pay for anything anymore because that's what I need from you. And that's exactly what you must have. It starts with mobile first. You wouldn't believe it, but I found 8% of other pages that didn't respond. So on a smartphone or tablet, those pages didn't work, the websites of those stores. And then SSL encryption. On 13% of the websites, there was no SSL encryption. But today, it's a Google ranking factor. If you don't encrypt your information, they won't let you in. Then third, keywords. I always see pages where people just have all kinds of text, what they offer, what kind of manufacturers supply to them. But these are not local keywords. And when I say local keywords, I mean school bag combined with Cologne, school bag, Cologne. And this is what you direct or base your page upon. This is what the content is based upon. And this is where you would like to rank at Google. So first of all, you need to understand what the most important keywords you have are and that you would like to have ranked locally. And for the most important keywords, you build your own pages. You don't just mention them somewhere in the text. No, you need a separate page for the keyword. So if selling school bags at the beginning of a school year is an important business for you, you need a separate page for this. Now, the domain with the local language, now it makes sense to say office supplies, Huber, Cologne. That's good. Your customers might find you, but the search engine then knows that you're based in Cologne. Geo IP tracking does not always work perfectly, so you have to mention where you are. And then that's the most important thing. If your service provider cannot offer you this, forget about them. You need a different service provider, the ranking factor. And the websites that I checked didn't have that. I have to be tough here, but you're losing a lot of potential. Every page you have as a so-called title tag. And like, school bag at Ortloff, Cologne. If you look for that, you get exactly this result. And this is what the provider must use on its page as a title, as a so-called title tag. And if you don't have such a title tag, then it's so much more difficult to find you. Then the description also means that when people click, they will find you more easily. And if you don't have the title tag and the meta description, then it's really, really difficult to find you. Then exact name and company addresses. Now, you have to make sure that what you say in the imprint about your company, that it matches the yellow pages in Google and Bing. If you have different addresses in different places, then this confuses the search engine, because then the search engine doesn't know whether it's really you or whether this is just spam trying to create traffic, and then they're going to push your site. So you must have matching names and company address data, local content, H1 headings for your service provider, and check whether you use an H1 heading for your school bags, for instance. Then user signals. Today, you have to be able to keep the user on your web page. Short clicks where they just get to your page and nothing is explained about school bags, then you lose the user. If the dwell time is below 20 seconds, less than 20 seconds spent on your web page, forget about it. Google is going to then also throw you out. And then local SEO. This includes links and similar things. You can read all about it on my blog. Second point. And here, you need to be aware of one thing. The Google My Business profile. Why is it so important? It's not important because you should have one and be there. No, it's important because then at least you get into this slot here. And in a local search query, once again, at the top you have the paid ads. They will trigger 19% of all clicks, but the large majority of clicks will be pulled by the Google local pack because people look for something locally. And when somebody looks for something locally, then they go to the 3 ads here and not just ads for those 3 hits. You just need to know what levers to operate, and the 6 levers which are necessary, I'm going to show them to you. So how do we get into this? This is where we want to be shown, in this area. And you might know this. Maybe Google created it for you automatically. If you haven't verified yet, it should be the first thing you do tomorrow in the morning. So how to get into this? First of all, verify your Google entry. As I said, 60% don't do that. Then you get a short message from Google that you are really Office Supplies Müller. You have to verify it. And then you can start filling in the entire profile. And this is what you should do. Please fill in your complete profile. Use all of the attributes offered by Google, not just some of them. Fill in the complete profile. And the most important tip here, and that's really the most important thing, the ultimate thing, the main category used by Google, and they have, for instance, paper goods manufacturers. Now, this main category must match the category on your website, must be the same category. So in the imprint, it would be nice if it also said stationery provider. Google will conduct a match between your imprint and what you're saying here. If they are not the same, they are going to just throw you out. And the second thing that's really important is you have to collect ratings. You cannot be sorted into this pack unless you have a relevant number of ratings, of reviews. And then people say, how can I get these ratings? It's so difficult. And people will hate it when I ask them, no. Dock a QR code onto your paper receipts when people buy from you so that they will go to the QR code and rate you, provide a rating. You have to use these kinds of tricks. But the market leader in Cologne, they had 619 customer reviews or ratings. Doesn't mean that they are doing a better job, but they know how to do it. They are more consistent here. If you don't do that, if you don't get customer reviews or ratings, you're never going to be shown here. 44% of the clicks then won't find you. So I mean it. Go there, get your ratings, and ask your customers for these ratings. And the main category, like school bag, should also be in the text of the rating. Always use the same words that should show up in the ratings of your customers. Third, and I had it already for the website, I can be quicker here, these are relevance factors on your website. And this means don't just invite users so that they just click on your website and leave it again immediately. Google will measure this time. And if Google sees that they only spend very little time on your website, you're not going to get back into those first positions. Links are important. Google is a search engine. No matter what you say about artificial intelligence, but it's a stupid machine. And it wants to work in a simple way. And the simplest way is a link. If you are relevant on-site, locally, as a provider, collect links and get links from the listing of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, for instance, or from whatever list of registered jobs. Get your links. User signals. Try to think about whether you might also embed videos on your websites for a very simple reason, because they keep the user longer on your website if they watch a video. And the more time people spend on your website, the better it will be for your Google importance or relevance. And you get more easily into the best places. And also make sure that what you enter in the yellow pages, the imprint in Google My Business profile, that is exactly the same information and that it's also spelled in exactly the same way, same name, same address. For all of you who say, well, actually, I want to do it as quickly as possible, and I don't want to do it myself, you can buy it and pay for it. I just wanted to mention it. Of course, you can also buy your way into it, and Google also realized it because traffic is really quite nice, and they know that they have the 44% traffic, and you can also pay your way into it. You can pay for it. A lot of people don't know that it's possible. You can pay your way into the local pack, and agencies wouldn't tell you because these ads are less expensive than normal Google ads. So if you want to get faster into the local pack, it's possible. If you want to be on the fast lane, fast track, it's a possibility. You can get to traffic by paying for getting your place in the local pack. And one attribute that you can also book here is the so-called click-to-call. I'm mentioning this because the click-to-call means that you get a phone call. So you pay Google for offering a verifiable contact for your shop. Otherwise, it's just a click on a website or somebody clicked on the route. That's nice, but will the people actually come to you? But here, click-to-call means they actually can click on an icon on the Google page and call you. Social media. As we learned, this traffic is not really good for you because there too they want to push you into paying for ads. Let me just give you a tip. Tomorrow there will be a presentation on social media which is really exciting and it's going to offer lots of insights. What I always recommend is use such a business suite from Meta, from the umbrella organization of Facebook, that's what they're called now. This also includes Instagram now and WhatsApp and you name it, all of the other things that belong to the universe now. Now this platform is just going to make it easier for you to serve both channels. Many don't do that and just use all of this information on a mobile phone. But with the Meta platform, you can nicely track your posts and you can see how resonance works. It's a very simple means. But what I'm really getting at is, what do I have to do if I want to get free of charge traffic from the social media, which is being passed on less and less frequently? But there are a couple of tricks how you can do it nevertheless. I'm going to share them with you. I'll briefly go through the most important ones. Regular content. Unfortunately, I would like to tell you something else, but there's no way to avoid it. Regular content needs to be provided. And it's important that it must be authentic content. Take a product which you only just listed or which you just recently added to your range. Take a short picture or make a video and make sure that you don't give any links outside. Whenever you give links to the outside from a platform like Facebook, Facebook doesn't like it because they think that, that people are going to lose their or leave their platform. Just post a video on your website and say to the people who see the video, just come and see the product for yourselves in our shop. And then another thing that a lot of people don't understand and that helps you overcome this obstacle where you as an entrepreneur or a company with your stationery show that you get less organic traffic from Facebook or Instagram. Just take your staff. Take your staff or employees. They are private persons. And private persons can, of course, post whatever they like. They can say, look, this shop is great, it's doing something great. And this is why many companies are now activating hosts of employees to overcome this organic obstacle. Do it. Take your friends. Say to your friends, come on, give me a like for my website and repost on my website. And then you will automatically increase your reach across a certain border that you otherwise wouldn't reach. So you use your friends and employees for this purpose. You might want to establish your own local group. You might laugh, but in Cologne they have a do-it-yourself group for autumn handicraft or craftswork. But it's a group from a person who says, join me in my community. We are going to do our do-it-yourself for autumn motifs and, for instance, chestnut dolls. That's a good idea. Set up your own local group or community. Think about live videos whenever you set up a new product in your shop. Well, shoot a short video. You might think it's ridiculous, but live videos in ranking for Facebook also get a much better position in the ranking. Local reposts. So whenever you see something locally that matches your own themes, even if it comes from other people, share it. With this, you're indicating to the platform that you are the nice guy next door. Platforms like this a lot. Then Facebook and Instagram separately. It's an academic discussion. Should you separate those two channels or could you serve both channels at the same time? There are some posts where it makes sense to separate between Facebook and Instagram, but honestly, you don't have 18 hands to serve different channels. I guess I would share a lot of things for both at the same time to create some basic traffic first. Local recognizability. Post in the local environment. Works nicely in the south of Cologne. There are a couple of points that everybody would recognize, places people would recognize. The local recognizability, don't underestimate it. Hashtags, these are the hashtag signs manifesting a trend. And if you use a hashtag, you can also join this trend. Geotag everything. You can always identify a certain geographical location. And from your Facebook and Instagram profile, please also make a link to your local website. Get this traffic. If somebody goes to your website or to your local link, why not also bring them to your website? And Instagram now also offers something called map search, just like Google. And I selected some writing utensils manufacturers or stationery shops. My kids are not using Google for searches. They might use Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok. They're not using any other search methods anymore. But think of this target group as well. Instagram is offering a map search. I think they are only offering this in the United States at the moment, but they're going to bring it to Germany. It does work in Germany. They're going to roll out. So think about whether you would also like to include the Instagram map search. And I said, well, Snapchat and TikTok do it as well, and I don't use Snapchat. I don't use it because I'm too stupid for it, but my kids love it. They use Snapchat, and they use it for searching. And they say, okay, there's a stationery shop called Nippers, and they are on Snapchat, and attract young users because they favor Snapchat. So just think about it. It's just a possibility. And here too, and that's something I'm going to skip over, for anybody who is impatient, somebody who says, no, I want to get more traffic from Facebook immediately. Of course, you can create it by ads. What's nice in social media is you can also address specific age attributes locally. You can really break it down to specific target groups. A search engine couldn't do that. It's really cool. But first of all, try it organically, and if nothing helps, you can use this method. E-commerce, the last insight. I know that it's awful, and everybody says, Hünemohr, I don't want to hear about it, but you don't have an alternative. At some stage, you're going to have to consider it, how you can make your business also accessible to other people via this sales channel. And it's got a lot to do with the fact that a lot of information is also related to availability, whether you have it on stock, and if you don't have the product available, people are going to leave you immediately. And I thought that was quite nice. Facebook and Instagram offer you free of charge shops. They don't cost anything at all. But it's nice that they have those shops also on the social media, but it only works in the United States, where you can check out and buy a product. It's not compliant with the data protection rules in Germany. But Shopify is now offering it for €5 per month in addition to a transaction fee, so you can also use the checkout function. And this is handled by Shopify. You can pay with a credit card. And that's a nice, smart entry to think about social e-commerce. Take a look at it. Shopify, that's a possibility. Now I have to be quick. Sorry, that might have been really important, but I have to skip over it. 3 more trends that you should watch and that you really, really have to consider as of tomorrow. Now, what Google is going to do is a camera search. That will become really prominent because we notice that people don't want to type so much into their smartphones. It's so much easier to just take a picture. So camera search. So it was a broken water faucet here, a broken water tap. You want to buy a new one. So you take a picture, you get the offering. And this guy says, I want to have something in my vicinity. And then you get a map of the companies in your vicinity offering such a water tap. For the stationery shop, it means I need copying paper. I could order it online, but I have this shop around the corner that sells it as well. But it only works if you geocode your pictures decently. My blog is going to tell you how to do it, but it's a really exciting thing. Searches by camera pictures, and also the question of availability, local availability. Is it available? Is it on stock at the local shop? And there is a service called Pointy. It's a particular software which you put on your scanner, register, and then Google automatically knows what you have on stock locally. You wouldn't have to enter it in the last trend here. And that's something that has a lot to do with pictures or images once again. Google makes it possible for you to use static pictures and transform them into 3D animations, because the click rates on moving images are much better than just a static image. Shopify found out that the shop conversion is almost 100% better if you have a 3D representation, and the rate of returns is much lower because you get a much better impression of the product when it's shown in 3D. So that was it, my presentation. If you want to get my presentation, just send me an email. That's my email address here. And you can also go to my bulletin or my newsletter. Once every month, I publish a newsletter that addresses those local questions in particular. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Patrick Hünemohr. Great presentation. I really believe that it's very useful. And if anyone has questions for Mr. Hünemohr, this is your opportunity to ask such questions. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Now, you showed us quite a lot, and you said before, and this is something you address in your newsletter as well, if anyone is interested. And in fact, we can download it free of charge, this newsletter. Just maybe one more thing. You said some things are already happening in the United States, but you expect that all of this is going to come to Europe and to Germany. When do you think that is going to happen? Now, as a rule, these are trends which, at the latest, 9 months or 12 months later, also arrive in Europe. And they are gathering experience and they are straightening out their algorithms. It's not just the United States. We also see a lot of this happening in Asian markets. They also have a lot of these trends because they have this consumer behavior. In Europe, we have major issues with data privacy or data protection. This is why it takes longer, but as a rule, 1 year later, we get it as well. So good prospects, very promising, if you want to make your business even more visible locally. Thank you very much, Patrick Hünemohr. Thank you for being here with us, and of course, he will be around for a few more minutes if anyone has